Entire empires that seemed invincible just vanished. One world ended in a wave of fire and ruin. Another civilization simply walked away from cities so advanced we still struggle to understand them. These societies were separated by continents and centuries, yet their stories often end in the same baffling way. A collapse that feels impossibly fast. Some ruins bear strange scars, vitrified stone and legends of walls that sagged like wax, that have fueled wild theories about what happened. What if these aren't just coincidences? What if some of the most advanced societies of the ancient world were brought down by forces they couldn't control, leaving behind clues to technologies that still challenge us today? We're traveling the globe to connect the dots, and what we've found might change how you see the past. Section 1. The Great Unraveling. Our investigation starts around 1200 BC in the eastern Mediterranean. A thriving, interconnected world of empires was about to be snuffed out. This wasn't a slow, graceful decline. It was a violent domino effect known today as the Late Bronze Age collapse. The mighty Hittite Empire, a superpower that went toe-to-toe with Egypt, crumbled into dust. Across the sea, the grand Mycenaean palaces of Greece, the legendary homes of heroes like Agamemnon, were all consumed by fire. Not a single one survived intact. Archaeologists digging through the ruins of this era find the same thing, over and over, thick layers of ash and destruction. At the Syrian port of Ugarit, clay tablets were found still baking in a kiln when the city fell. These final, desperate letters speak of invasions from the sea, failing crops, and a world on fire. Probably not. Evidence also points to a devastating series of earthquakes that may have leveled cities. Others argue for a systems collapse, a perfect storm where fragile trade networks were cut, leading to famine, rebellion, and a cascading failure that plunged much of the region into a period of decline. Section 2. When the rains stopped. But not all collapses came with fire and swords. Sometimes, they arrived with a terrifying silence. Further back in time, to Mesopotamia, around 2200 BCE. The Akkadian Empire had risen to become one of the world's first great empires, a sprawling state built on fertile plains. Then, over the course of a few generations, it fell apart. Major cities were abandoned, leaving a troubling period of decline in the archaeological record. For a long time, its fall was a complete puzzle. But modern climate science has pointed to a prime suspect, an abrupt and severe mega-drought that lasted for centuries. The agricultural heartland that fed the empire appears to have simply dried up. While internal conflicts and shifting trades certainly played a role, many believe the world's first empire was starved into submission. Thousands of years later, and half a world away, a similar story played out in the jungles of Mesoamerica. The classic Maya civilization flourished for centuries, building breathtaking cities and tracking the cosmos with stunning accuracy. Then, between 800 and 950 C, the grand construction projects stopped. These weren't primitive people. They were astronomers, architects, and engineers. Yet they found themselves powerless against a force they couldn't control. But what if collapse wasn't the end of their story? What if they left something behind? Clues. Section 3. The Secret Fire of the Byzantines. This brings us to the world of lost technology. In the 7th century C, the Byzantine Empire, the last remnant of Rome, was on the ropes. The massive fleet of the Umayyad Caliphate was at the gates of Constantinople, and the city was about to fall. Then, the Byzantines unleashed a secret weapon, a terrifying liquid fire that couldn't be extinguished with water. It clung to ships and sailors, and stunned eyewitnesses swore it even made the sea itself burn. The Arab fleet was annihilated, and the empire was saved. They called it Greek fire. For centuries, it was a game-changing weapon that gave the Byzantines a critical edge in naval battles. Its formula was one of the most guarded state secrets in history, and no definitive recipe has ever been found. Modern analysis suggests a petroleum-based mixture, but the exact ingredients and propellant remain a mystery. And the puzzle deepens. The chemical compound was only half the weapon. The Byzantines had developed sophisticated bronze pressure pumps and siphons to project the liquid fire at their enemies. While we have plausible ideas of how these pumps worked, engineers still debate the precise mechanics used to handle such a volatile substance without blowing up their own ships. We're piecing together a global puzzle of lost worlds and incredible technologies. If you're finding this as fascinating as we are, take a second to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss the evidence we're uncovering next. Section 4. the ghost in the machine. If Greek fire represents a lost weapon, our next artifact represents a lost world of scientific thought. In 1901, divers exploring an ancient Roman-era shipwreck off the Greek island of Antikythera made a strange discovery. Amidst the statues and pottery was a lump of corroded bronze that turned out to be a tangle of impossibly complex gears. This was the Antikythera mechanism. After decades of study using high-tech CT scans, scientists have concluded that this device, dating to the 2nd or 1st century BC, was an astronomical calculator of staggering genius. With dozens of interlocking bronze gears, it could predict the position of the sun and moon, track the phases of the moon, foretell eclipses, and even map the 4-year cycle of the Olympic Games. Here's the mystery. Its level of mechanical complexity wouldn't be seen again for over 1,000 years. It's like finding a jet engine in a pharaoh's tomb. The Antikythera mechanism is the most stunning piece of evidence we have for a tradition of advanced Greek mechanical engineering that has otherwise been almost completely lost to history. Section 5. The Steel of Legend and Concrete of the Gods. And the list of lost wonders keeps going. From the 9th to the 18th century, smiths in the Middle East and South Asia forged blades of legendary quality. Known as Damascus steel, these swords were said to be so sharp they could slice a falling piece of silk, yet so tough they could bend without breaking. They were instantly recognizable by a beautiful, watery pattern on the blade. The secret started with a special material, wootz steel, imported from India. But the magic wasn't just in the steel, it was in the forging process. A jealously guarded guild secret. Using electron microscopes, some modern scientists believe the process, which likely involved specific plant matter during forging, unwittingly created incredible microscopic structures within the steel, including what they identify as carbon nanotubes and nanowires. When the trade routes for wootz steel dried up, the secret was lost. Meanwhile, another ancient technology was quietly proving its worth across Europe. If you visit the Pantheon in Rome, you can look up at the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world. It's been standing for nearly 2,000 years. For centuries, engineers were baffled by the incredible longevity of Roman concrete, especially in marine structures like harbors, which somehow seem to get stronger over time. Section 6. Connecting the dots, the fragility of genius. So, we have empires that collapse with shocking speed, and we have technologies that vanish for 1,000 years. Are these two phenomena connected? The evidence suggests they are. A pattern emerges, one that shows just how fragile knowledge and civilization can be. First, advanced knowledge was often concentrated in the hands of a tiny few. Greek fire was a state secret. Damascus steel was a guild secret. This knowledge wasn't posted on a public forum. It was held by a small elite. When the state weakened or trade routes failed, there was no backup. The knowledge could die with its keepers. Second, civilizations are built on fragile networks. The late Bronze Age world depended on ships trading tin and copper. When that trade was disrupted by raiders, famine, or war, the system fell apart. Without bronze, armies faltered. Without grain, cities starved. The complex society that supported artisans and scribes simply dissolved. Finally, environmental shocks can wipe the slate clean. The droughts that likely helped bring down the Akkadian and Maya civilizations didn't just cause hunger, they shattered the social order that allowed for specialized knowledge to flourish. You can't spend your days perfecting astronomy when your entire world is consumed by the desperate search for water. So, are these just disconnected stories of failure? Or are they a recurring warning? From the Bronze Age to the Maya, from Greek fire to Roman concrete, the pattern is eerily similar. Advanced societies create complex systems and incredible technologies, but that very complexity can become their greatest vulnerability. Whether the threat is climate change, war, or the failure of a single, critical trade route, their genius is often tragically fragile. It all leads to the ultimate question, one we have to ask ourselves today. In our hyper-connected global civilization, with our own immense environmental pressures, are we more resilient than they were? Or are we just building taller towers on the same shaky foundation? What do you think is the biggest threat our own civilization faces? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to keep digging into the greatest mysteries of the past, make sure you subscribe. Keep questioning.